I'm taking no chances. I want the city cleansed of any evil spirits that might jeopardize my plans.
A wise man knows the limits of his understanding. It is good you have called on me.
Give him his pants.
The Morning Stream. Maybe I can help you. I am Boba Fett.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TMS. It's, Thursday, May 22nd, 2025 is the year. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Brian Ibbett. Hi, Brian.
Hello. You know, something we haven't even mentioned this week is that these are all palindromic dates if you're in the U.S. So it's 52225. So 52225.
Oh, right.
And tomorrow will be 52325.
Oh, my gosh. This little stretch is a rare one, isn't it? You don't get this very often.
It's a rare one, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, you know, all you numerologists.
Until the 29th.
Yeah. Enjoy it for the remainder of this tiny little month that went too fast. All right?
That's right.
Have fun while you can, I always say. Hey, it's the show. We're here. We got Thursday all lined up for you. Wendy coming in later. We're going to talk about we're going to have a deeper dive into the concepts of true empathy for somebody else. And
okay.
I'm afraid I'm a bit of an example on this one. You'll see what I mean when we get there.
Okay. All right.
Not in a fun way, I'll say.
Oh no.
It's not too bad.
You care too much? Are you saying you care too much, Scott?
No, it's just about me strapping a TENS unit to my guts and trying to simulate a period.
I did hear about this. I didn't see the video, but I heard about this.
Yeah, so she wants to expand on that a bit. We'll talk about it. I did something I really liked last night, and that is discovered a Korean hot pot Korean barbecue buffet place that I didn't know was around. Apparently, this is a place my brother had already recommended, but I don't remember him telling me to go there. And we got one that just opened up near us. It's pretty funny because it used to be a Australian steakhouse, and they still have
not an Outback.
Yeah, and they still have this huge Australian kangaroo / continent shape logo just out on the front. And I'm like, you guys need to take that down. What are you doing?
That's not the shape of Korea. It's like the sushi boat place that we have in South Denver that was one of those conveyor belt sushi places, but instead of a conveyor belt, they actually had a waterway with boats that they put the sushi on. It would float around and you just grab what you want. And they changed owners, and the owners changed it to Sushi Train, and they put a train in that little moat and took out all the water, but they kept the boat shape on the sign. So it's a boat that says Sushi Train.
Oh, nice. Look, if you... I don't mind converting. Converting's fine because you got the stuff to go and convert it. But these guys are just like, all right, it's called Ombu, and here's our name, and here's the things we do, and then right next to it, a giant Australian flag, essentially with a
come in for some Korean barbecue, mate.
Yeah, it's very odd. But anyway, the way they do it is each table's got the built-in barbecue thing in the middle, the hot pot stuff on the side. So your stove is your table. Yeah. Yeah. And pretty normal for a place like this, but we go in there and it's that, and then they have buffet style for all the add-ons, all the
veggies, the sauces,
all of it. Yeah, crabs, and they even had crawfish there. They had all kinds of weird squid combinations, just weird stuff. And then they had the chili oil we like a lot, the crunchy stuff. They had tons of that.
Yeah, the garlic.
Said all these things. So we go in there, and I was like, all right, well, this looks cool. What are we doing? And the way it works is at night anyway, they have a lunch special, but and for dinner they do a $22 all you can eat, either hot pot or Korean barbecue. Either one's all you can eat. Stay there as long as you want. Get all the meat you want, whatever. And it was so freaking good. Like I'm still kind of burping it up, but it's okay. You know, I like it. I'm actually happy.
We've had a couple of those places open up in Arvada. We took over in a bed that has been a couple things since Village Inn left. The one we went to, and we made the mistake of going with Crazy Neighbor, who likes to go all out on things. There's no half measures for Crazy Neighbor. No. And so we did they had the all you can eat, but it's all you can eat both hot pot and Korean barbecue. And that's the food is all fantastic. I love it. But it feels like you're working as a sous chef and you are constantly doing things. You're barely having time to enjoy the food. You have to shove it in your mouth because wait, no, I'm cooking this. And I don't know if it's this way at the one you went to, but they kept the original tables and layout of the Village Inn, and these tables for 4 people having a barbecue in front of each person. No, I guess there's a central barbecue and then a hot pot in front of everybody. That's great room if you don't need to put anything else on the table, like all of the sauces and all of the veggies and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
So they had to wheel up a tray, like a rolling cart, which they did for everybody. Wheel up a rolling cart next to everybody to have all of the food on there. And which means the 2 people on the end are constantly like, oh, what did you need? You need more of the steak? Sure, here's more steak. Oh, what did you need? You want some more bok choy? Here you go, here's the bok choy. Like,
it's a lot.
I should have gotten the tip at the end of that meal.
Yeah, you're basically your very own episode of The Bear over there, just kind of trying to keep it all together. It wasn't so bad. We kind of took our time, and it wasn't super busy, but it's nice because they have the tables we were at. These were all new tables, and they had them. The stove stuff's built into them, so there's 2 on each side of the booth, and because it's just Kim and I, we could just choose whichever hot
there you go.
thing we
and they
wanted.
do they have the other ones covered up so you could actually use those as storage?
Yeah, in fact, they're actually they look like table. Unless you heat them up,
they take the chunks out of the table as opposed to they
don't even do that. It's just like straight up like what I can't even think what this is like. They're stoves like the electric stoves. They're basically they're just flat. And
gotcha. Okay,
it's like that. Okay. So there's no grill there, no like other apparatus. It's either on or it isn't. And if it's on, then you don't want to touch it because it's hot or whatever. So it's like a white table with these little rings, and then you know where to put your stuff based on where those rings are. And then you kind of control your own temperature and everything. And then the barbecue thing in the middle, they put that one is like a cut out, basin type thing. Yeah,
because they've got to have the room for all that, all the metal grating and heat and that sort of thing.
And because we didn't do barbecue, she just immediately puts this glass cover on that, and then that's just now flat table, part of the table.
See, that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
that's
pretty good.
Way you do it. Need to do one or the other. Needs to be just Tina and I, so we can take our time and not feel like we're having to feed a whole table and get stuff off the cart for everybody, and not try and do both.
I agree, because you're not there to, I'm
not there to cook. Like I'm there to cook, obviously, but I'm not there to not enjoy the food because I'm too busy managing my stuff, the central stuff, and all the stuff on the cart for other people. I want,
right.
I want to just sit back and cook it, enjoy it, and savor it, but not be stressed out by it.
Yeah, you don't want it to feel like work. You want to have it feel like a fun time out. So this is the place. It's Ambu Hot Pot Barbecue Buffet, the one in South Jordan's where we went, and it was fantastic. If you're in the area, it's definitely worth it. And the price, I mean, compared to, you're going to spend $22 at McDonald's these days, let alone, anywhere else. So
it's a great price. Yeah, I don't know what the ones by us are. I want to say when we did both, it was 40 something per person, 42 per person or something like that. It feels like, but I'll bet if we just did one or the other, it would be closer to that price.
Yeah, it's not bad. And depends on they may have deals for, like, this place has a lunch thing for like 16 or something.
That's great.
Yeah. But lunch deals are weird because you kind of have a limited time. Most people for lunch, they can't just go in there forever. So having an all you can eat lunch deal at a hot pot place, that seems a little insane because it's just like trying to maximize your value, right? You're just like, oh, okay, hurry up and cook it. We got 20 minutes before the big meeting. All right. Anyway, it was good though. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. There's a few of them in the valley, and I'm sad I took so long to do it. I enacted some revenge yesterday, Brian. I'd like to share with you. Yeah, a little bit of revenge, right. And
excellent. Was it served cold? I hope so.
It was served. You know what? Yeah, it was cold. I'll explain.
Okay, good.
So Kim and I are doing yard stuff yesterday after we kind of sewed things up down here. Went outside, did some mowing, edging, all that stuff. Kim and I were edging.
If you know that's gonna turn into some messages in chat. Of course. Sure.
I didn't even know what that meant until about a month ago. And was it here or John? No, it was John who filled me in on what edging was.
Yeah, that one was not here.
So now I know, or maybe it was Italian here. I can't remember. Anyway,
Oh, you know what? I think that's right.
Just feels like a tally thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're out there doing that, and I'm mowing, and I got the cool green mower thing you and I share, the
Ego
thing. Love that thing. It's great. And it's out there doing stuff and, cutting grass. And I thought I had done a pretty good sweep of the area to make sure there weren't any, dog bombs in the grass or whatever. But the neighbor who's always pooping over on that corner, they've been pretty good lately. Like, we haven't had a big influx or anything. But apparently there is one, and I had missed it. But here's the good thing about it. All right. Now, I don't mind, if I see him beforehand, obviously I pick him up, throw him, take care of it. But I go to this part where it just kind of curves and it aims directly where they live. Because they live in these townhomes adjacent to us over here. Yeah. And I went over it and I hear, and I don't have the bag on. I have the little side pipe thing. Yeah. Because I don't want to, it's not high enough grass. It's good for the grass to have a little bit of clippings in there.
Exactly. It keeps keeps some shade on the ground and gives the plants something to eat. Their own.
Exactly. They eat their own. So I hit this thing and I hear like that sound. It horks out of, I assume it was cold. This is the cold part, served cold part. Yeah. It horks out the side of that vent and slaps right up against the side of their brand new, is it not Kia? No, it is Kia. What's the Kia EV6, I guess?
They have an EV6, yeah.
It's the bigger, EV9's the big one.
Could be the EV9 is like a 3-seat or 3-row or 2-row.
It's like 7 seats or something. The big one. And it was just the way they had it parked was a little bit like kitty corner and aimed 3/4 to where I was. And it just went on the side of the back panel of that thing.
That's some good launch.
Yeah, no, it was really good launch.
Ego mower.
Yeah, wow. It wasn't bad, but also it's very, where that turn is, they're very close, which is why they use our yard all the time, because it's just so adjacent to where they live. But I didn't feel bad about it. It was fine.
Oh my God, what great aim! Like, you probably couldn't have done that if you had tried. Like,
no, it wouldn't have worked if I aimed it.
Perfect storm of horking the poop.
And it wasn't all of it. It was just like a smattering, but it was enough for me to grin and keep going. So I just kept going.
Smattering.
Yeah, I didn't worry too much about it. I didn't tell them about it. I just let it be. Look, I didn't put the poo there. They did.
Yeah.
That's their poo. I'm not going to go over there and wipe it down.
You're just returning their poo to them.
Yeah.
You are not,
Yeah, I'm going back to the library and putting my book in the little slot. That's all I'm doing. So I did, and everything went fine, and our yard looks great now. So congratulations.
Well done, sir.
Jinx says return to sender. Exactly.
There you go. If you could have flung it right up the dog's butt, you would, but this will be a nice alternative.
Yep, there you go. All right, we got a phone call I got to play. Cool. Scuba Geek wrote in. This is about, so on Monday, while you were out, but I know you heard the show. Bobby was talking about how sound moves in water, and it moves faster in water than it does in air.
Because it's dense, right? And the atoms are closer together, so they just basically conduct the sound.
Yeah, which surprised me. I thought the obvious answer was air, but also
I would have done really well on that quiz, but obviously I wasn't there to play it.
Were you doing like the stereotype with Jeopardy, where you're watching it and you hear the statement and then you say it before the person says it? Is that what you were doing in the car?
Totally was almost the whole time.
That's great.
I knew the biggest desert was Antarctica. Yeah, it's not easy to say, Alex, but
it's a hard word. It's one of those.
Ken Jennings.
But here we go. Here is the Scuba Geek thing about that deal, because he's got some experience. It turns out, does scuba diving. It's his whole thing.
Oh, cool.
So here you go.
Hello, Shark and Barracuda. This is Scuba Geek. Building on the discussion that Bobby was talking about with the variance of the speed of sound in water versus air. When scuba diving, this is something you learn about fairly quickly, because when you are underwater and a sound occurs, because it travels so much faster than it does in the air, it hits both your ears at the same time. So when the sound occurs, your brain can't tell where that sound came from. So you'll learn, when you hear something, stop and look around 360 degrees to try to figure out where that sound came from, because you can't distinguish where it is. So that's it. Nothing terribly exciting, but I thought a cool little fun Pat. Love the show. Have a great day. Goodbye.
All right. I like this call for many reasons. One of them is Scuba Geek sounds like he has naturally been born with a voice that's been slowed down to 0.5x speed. And that's amazing because he's talking at a regular rate. It's just that it's way down here.
Yeah.
Thing. It's very cool.
That's cool. Wow.
But also, I didn't know this. So have you ever been in the water and heard a sound and went, "Oh shit, it's right in front of me"? It's behind me.
I've never scubaed, but I've snorkeled, and I never even thought about that. That like when you're snorkeling, the sound that you're hearing, like if Tina's trying to get my attention to look at something, she'll go brr, 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 right.
Yeah.
And I'll hear it in both ears. I didn't even think about it. It'll be like, where is she? Where is she?
I wonder if movies ever try to get that right. I'm trying to think of like The Abyss or something. Did they ever mess with sound?
Like play on that? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know. You'd have to explain it to the audience wouldn't understand why.
Yeah.
Ed Harris is over here yelling at Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and she's looking all around like she doesn't know where the sound is coming from.
Always yelling at her, dude. Always yelling at her.
Yeah. You never gave up on anything your whole life. Don't give up now.
Yeah. He's just a yelling bastard.
He is.
Well, at least he got to do CPR on her nude boobs. That's what I always think of.
I know. Yes.
It's hard not to. All right. We got another call. This came in via Brett, who wanted to talk about Gary Cherone and his time with Van Halen. Another follow-up on that discussion.
Do we have a Gary Cherone defender?
I don't know if this is so much a defender as it is a memory, another kind of nostalgic look back.
Observation.
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
So we'll play that and see what he has to say.
Another Eddie Van Halen superfan chiming in here. While I didn't love the Van Halen 3 album with Gary Cherone, their tour with him was amazing. He had enough of a rock voice to cover the David Lee Roth stuff well, and enough vocal range to cover the Sammy Hagar stuff well. I used to download and share live bootlegs, and I noticed that they pulled out some classics on the Cherone tour, like Mean Street, that they hadn't done live since the early 80s. Rest in peace, Eddie, and love the show, though.
So a little bit of a defense of Cherone's work, I guess.
Yeah. A defense, at least, of the Cherone tour, which is actually pretty impressive if he's able to do, because they're going to spend, they only had one album with Cherone, or as AI calls it, Cherone.
Cherone,
Cherone. The fact that he was able, in a concert where they're going to be doing all of the Van Halen library, the fact that he's able to step in and be like, yeah, I can do the Hagar stuff, I can do the David Lee Roth stuff, no problem. So that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I don't have any like strong feelings about the time he was in there, other than I just remember feeling like Van Halen was just in a different place and it was kind of a different band, and I was in my time with it was kind of over. That's just where I was then.
Yeah, and I think we still do this, but growing up and listening to music, you always think of the lead vocalist as the captain of the team, right? He is always the president of the band,
Sure.
kind of thing.
Sure.
And you get to things like the Jay Giles band, and you're like, wait, that's not Jay Giles singing. Who is that singing? Peter Wolf? What?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
But then when a band comes through and says, yeah, our lead vocalists are important, but they're replaceable. They're not disposable, but we can bring in a new one and still have the meat of the band be the same. And so that was just a weird thing for us growing up. I can't think of another. There probably are some really good examples I'm forgetting, but other bands where...
Well, the best example I can think of where it's good, like it actually improved the band, I think, or at least I feel like they didn't skip a beat, was AC/DC. I feel like that just worked.
Oh, great example. Perfect example, AC/DC, yeah.
If anything, it brought them into their highest moments of like... I'm not even saying that Bon Scott was a problem or that he was holding anyone back. There's something about the momentum of the band, the timing of all that. Back in Black, it was just an all-time banger. So Brian Johnson's, addition worked fine. But there are plenty of examples of like Journey. It's hard for me to want to take Journey seriously. For,
really?
For a
Because
bunch of reasons.
Pineda? San
And he's
Pineda?
fine. It's not that the guy can't sing. He can. In fact, he does a really good. Maybe this is the problem. It feels more like an impression of Steve Perry than its own thing.
Right. Because that was his whole goal. I mean, he was in a Journey cover band, and was the goal was to sound as much like Steve Perry as possible. Pink Floyd is kind of an example Rebel Scum brings up, but Roger Waters and David Gilmour were in the band. Like, they brought in David Gilmour after the band had been established, I think even while Syd Barrett was still in the band. So Waters and Gilmour were in the band together for several albums before Waters left Gilmour as the only vocalist. So it wasn't really a replacement as much as it just was, Gilmour can do vocals? Great. Let's use him on some songs. Let's use the two of them together on some songs.
Yeah, and we'd already heard a lot of that with, like, when they did The Wall, or you hear something like Comfortably Numb, and you hear the combination of their lyrics.
Both vocals.
Later on, when you got Gilmour by himself, it's fine. It's like, oh, okay.
Genesis, great example, Eric.
Oh, that's a good one.
Genesis. Yeah. Peter Gabriel leaving, Phil Collins coming in, and really, that was such a shift. The band went from being a artsy prog group into full-on pop in the space of 2 albums with Phil Collins. It was, they really switched gears. And I think Phil was drummer for a couple albums, or was he drummer the whole time?
Well, he may have been the whole time. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, he was definitely drummer when he started with them, but I don't remember how that all panned out in the end. Maybe he quit doing that.
Kevin and I talked about Genesis for Soundography, but it was the first season, so I don't remember. Phil Collins' tenure.
I mean, he was definitely
Eric
doing.
Ferris confirms he was not the original drummer, but he did overlap quite a long time with Gabriel.
Oh, yeah.
Collins was only doing, if anything, the occasional backing vocal.
If that, yeah, you'd see him. In fact, I was just looking at a poster yesterday of the band at that era, and it's Phil Collins there in the back playing like obscure drummer guy.
Was Gabriel in some goofy clown outfit or something?
No, it was like he looked very different though. He had like longer hair, and it was weird. Not used to his look, but yeah.
New Order, okay, Biggie Bob, official. New Order is a kind of a good example, except they changed like once. Hold on, I'll get it. Oh, dude, I can't remember the dude's name who committed suicide, and then they decided they'd be New Order. Because it was Level Tear Us Apart was the song, and the vocalist. Before they changed to New Order. Can't remember.
Am I evil because my favorite New Order song is the track they did for Blade, which is just, it's not even vocals. It's just that.
I don't know why that would make you evil, but it just makes you wrong, because New Order's best songs are things like Bizarre Love Triangle, True Faith. What's the one where the guy comes back from the war to find his wife on the floor, like we're gonna sing the lyrics because I'm making the rhyme. Holding a letter that says that he was dead, so you find out he's a ghost.
Oh man! Oh. I mean, I love that band. Don't get me wrong. You're not wrong about
Curtis,
all that.
Thank you, Molly. Jeez, Ian Curtis could not remember his damn name.
Nice,
but yeah,
it's a good title. You're not evil. You're just wrong.
You can like what you like, but
the other good mod, I would, I'll give it up to Linkin Park and this recent new singer lady. She's freaking fantastic.
She's really good. Yeah.
So it can be done.
Big shoes to fill, and I think the modern bands have bigger shoes to fill with that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, especially while it's happening, and we're
much more tribal with our music than we used to be, I think, and so when. No, it's Chester, nobody. But then they bring in this amazing singer, and it's like you either gotta keep your feet planted and say, nope, I'm not even gonna entertain the thought that she could be better. Mm-hmm.
But it would be like if you're gonna bring Soundgarden together again right now, and you don't have Chris Cornell. I don't know how you do that. That doesn't seem right.
Right.
That seems wrong.
If they decide, Grohl and Novoselic decide to reform Nirvana without Kurt Cobain, I mean,
that would be weird.
Queen with Denham Lambert. There you go. There's an example of how it can work.
Yeah, you can pull it off.
It was tough. I mean, the Paul Rogers years, people were dismissive, even though Paul Rogers is a great singer, but people were very dismissive of Paul Rogers stepping in and doing the Freddie Mercury stuff. But Adam Lambert, I saw them on tour. It's a bummer John Deacon doesn't want anything to do with the band, because he's just did not like the limelight, didn't like the he was the quiet Beatle, whatever the Queen equivalent of the quiet Beatle was.
Sure.
But Brian May still rocking it, still doing vocals on his songs, and Roger Taylor still doing vocals on stuff like "I'm in Love with My Car," and then Lambert doing plenty with. I
think it helps that you have so much time pass. Like,
yeah, that's probably it, right? Like if they were to do it, if what's a good? I mean, the Linkin Park example. If it was within months, it's like, okay, Chester's dead. We have a new female vocalist. Guess what? We're in. We're keeping it going. Then people will really be pissed off.
Yeah, and if you have something as iconic as Queen, okay, something that big a deal, you do this right after Freddie Mercury dies, you're screwing yourself. But you do it this far later, they're almost like a retirement band. Like, it's not even. I'm not saying they're not still Queen. They're still Queen. They're still amazing. But it's not the same as in their prime. And I think you can get away with it later with some bands, and then some bands you can do it quicker. Like, I don't know how quick Brian Johnson joined AC/DC, but it seemed like it was pretty quick. You know? But anyway, there you go.
No, it was I said Ian Curtis, and you're on a delay, Claire. Molly Fenton beat you to Ian Curtis by about a page and a half of chat messages.
Yeah. Don't listen to Claire today. She's all mad about the AI voice. I don't choose those. The listener does.
Yeah.
We don't pick them. So somebody else gets to pick those.
It'd be great if the AI on that what's it called? Voicecast?
Voicecast.apps. Well, I think they're just using OpenAI or something as a plugin. It's like an API thing, but
right. But it would be great if they let you record your voice, a little bit of it, and then use the AI version of your voice to read your message.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But then at some point, it's just like, just call in and leave your message.
Just do it. Yeah, just use your regular voice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, BioCow. In Excess, that whole Rockstar reality show. They did a second season, and who was that to fill in? So,
see, that annoyed me. I didn't like it at all, because it's like,
I didn't like that either, doing it as a reality show, because you don't let other people decide who's going to be the new front person, the new vocalist for your band, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't. And didn't they? Well, what was Journey's deal? Wasn't that kind of like that? They did a kind of a.
No, it was a Journey tribute band that they just said, "You sound great. Would you like to be our new vocalist?"
I thought there was a show, but I think I've conflated those two bands.
I think you might be conflating Rockstar with that.
Yeah.
The second season was Metallica replacing Jason Newsted. I completely forgot about that.
Really?
Oh, that's it. Yes. Okay. Icarus says the second season was for a supergroup called Supernova. Yes, I remember that. By the way, Storm Large, one of the first people to reach out to Coverville and send me a bunch of covers, and we emailed back and forth quite a few times. She was a contestant. She lasted a long time on that In Excess Rockstar season. She was, I feel like she would have been a great part of the band.
Yeah. She would have been all right. Well, there's our music segment for the week, everybody.
Yeah, there we go.
Hope you enjoyed it. It'll prep you for a little.
Hopefully make up for a Coverville, which I'll talk about later.
Oh,
it won't be a Coverville today.
Oh, all right. Well, then, hey, you guys just got a bunch of sort of Coverville business early.
Yeah.
No music, but you'll get a cover at the end of the show today. That'll be good.
You'll get a cover at the end of the show, and you'll get an explanation as to why there won't be a Coverville. And Monica, I don't know about Post Nirvana. There was a band called Post Nirvana.
Yeah, It was.
Oh, that was Post Malone and Nirvana.
Yeah, it wasn't even a band. I mean, all they did was a stage, like a one-off.
Single. Yeah. Wasn't it? It was for the.
It was some kind of deal.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, wasn't it? Oh no, it was for the 50th anniversary. That's right. Okay.
Right. Claire needs a cold shower. I'm just going to put that out there. She's just, everything's controversial for her today. Every freaking thing.
Oh boy. Okay. It is a not gonna bite day.
I ain't biting.
I'm not gonna bite.
In fact, I'm just gonna park this little window right back there. All right. Quick note, we are not here Monday because it's Memorial Day, and we, as a general tradition here on TMS, do not do a show on that day. So there'll be some other things that day, of course. Daily music headlines. Carter and I will likely do a Monday show. There's a few other things that will happen, but TMS is off that morning, which will help me because I got to take Kim to the airport at like 6 in the freaking early in the morning.
Chicago trip, right?
Yeah, and she, for whatever reason, chose this like god-awful time in the morning to go, and I got to take her very early. So it's going to be
go
fun.
play with some raccoons. I know where she's going.
Yeah, she's going to she can do a little raccoon watching.
She's going to Raccoon City with the Umbrella.
Yep.
I want to say Umbrella Academy. What's the Umbrella Corporation?
Oh, Umbrella Corp. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, she's going to work with Wesker. He's evil. Do not trust Wesker.
Chill.
Wesker. Anyway,
Barry.
that is not. So that's Monday, Memorial Day, not happening. Tuesday, we're back. Everything's normal. All right, everybody, calm yourselves down. All right, let's get a little news in before we get Wendy in here today, and we'll do that by doing this. Today's news is brought to you by
Coverville. There won't be one. That's the thing. Hammond and I are going to record a special K-pop episode of Soundography with Tom. Tom has given each of us a list based on the things we like. Hammond liking prog, me liking just your generic kind of Taylor Swifty, Spice Girls-y kind of pop, giving each of us a list of bands and albums to listen to, and we're going to report back to Tom with our findings. So that is going to be recorded as a special episode of Soundography. If you are a patron, you're going to get that episode right away when we're done with it, warts and all. If you're not, you probably will have about a 3-week wait or 2-week wait to get the show on the regular feeds. But I'm excited about this. I'm surprised at how much K-pop I am loving, and that's going to make the Deuceys really happy too, because I know they're big fans as well.
No, it's good stuff in there for sure. Yeah,
Le Seraphim and Blackpink and all the different Solums, Rosé and
you're basically listing the playlist that was on the overhead speakers at the restaurant last night. All of that stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, love it. That's great. What a great playlist.
Yeah.
BTS. Yeah. I've leaned more towards the female artists only because the list I gave Tom was stuff that's like Taylor Swift, Pink, and the Spice Girls. Yeah. Boy Next Door, J-Hope, Jennie, Jisoo, Jungkook, Cat's Eye.
Jungkook.
Red Velvet. Jungkook. Gotta love the Jungkook.
Love it on rice. It's very good on rice. Jungkook. Well, all right then.
Good stuff.
So watch for that. You get you may not be getting a Coverville, but you're getting something. All right.
You're getting something, and then there will be a Guess the Connection tomorrow. So be around for that. That'll be after TMS Friday tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, we definitely have that tomorrow. So watch for that too.
Yes.
All right, got a couple things here. An alligator chilling in a pipe. This is a story we're going to tell you about now. This is pretty cool. City employee.
Try and take a selfie with him.
That's funny because there have been like 3 alligator stories in the last couple of weeks.
Past week, yeah.
Nuts. This one is happening in Oviedo, Florida.
Oviedo.
Oviedo.
I'd say because of the Spanish roots, Oviedo is probably what I would say, but we'll get corrections starting now.
And go, chat. Can't see you anyway. Let's see. Conducting a routine inspection of underground pipes, we're surprised to discover a small alligator relaxing inside, just chilling in there.
Cool. Just chilling.
Yeah.
Nice.
Residents of one Florida town may be experiencing a sense of deja vu after a routine inspection in these underground pipes yielded a familiar and scary discovery. City maintenance crews in Oviedo, whatever it is, spotted an alligator just chilling Wednesday, seemingly unfazed by its subterranean surroundings. I hope everyone noticed that's now 3 paragraphs that essentially say the same
same thing. By the way, is this from somebody flushing an alligator down the toilet?
Shit.
Drew Barrymore warned us about alligators in the sewers, and this is it.
This is it. Finally happening. Did you ever see Alligator, the TV movie Alligator, when you were a kid?
No.
It was on regular TV, I think.
Really?
And it was about
it. Not released as a theatrical release?
No, it was like straight to just like a made for ABC or something thing. And it was a kid flushed a alligator, or a parent, I think, was pissed, flushed their kid's alligator down the toilet, and then somehow in the sewer, the alligator got a hold of I don't know what, and got huge and like came out of the streets and like ate. It became like a giant monster.
This, yeah.
It's
1980
terrible.
American independent horror film directed by Louis Teague, who also did Cat's Eye, Cujo, Jewel of the Nile, Dukes of Hazzard Reunion. Dukes of Hazzard Reunion.
Wow. That's great.
Also came out with a tabletop game distributed by the Ideal Toy Company. No, why aren't we watching this for Film Sack? Feels like we need to.
We probably should. I don't remember if it was like multi-part, because I swear it was TV made, but maybe it just maybe they couldn't get distribution and it was just a regular movie. I don't know.
It stars Robert Forster, our friend from. Did you say that?
No, I didn't say it, but I love him though. He's great.
Kane Hodder.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know who that is. Who's Kane Hodder?
He's your Jason, Kane Hodder.
Oh, big guy.
He's the big guy, the stunt man who's behind the hockey mask.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's wild.
Henry Silva, I think we know from stuff.
I think we know the romantic lady lead.
Robin Riker.
What do we know her from?
Maybe
let's see.
She made her big screen debut in the 1980 horror film Alligator, and later went on to star in the Showtime comedy series Brothers.
What am I thinking of? Why do I know her? Hold on. Oh, she's so familiar to me. Was it Buffy, maybe?
Oh, Sue Lyon, as an NBC newswoman, played Lolita in the Stanley Kubrick Lolita film.
Oh, geez.
Yes. Don't stand so close to me.
She's busy in lots of stuff.
She is.
I can't remember. There was something I remember from, but anyway, that movie is bad.
Let's throw this on the Film Sack to watch list.
Yeah, it's bad and great. Big recommendation from me to watch that. Anyway, let's see here. You loved him the first time around, and now he's back, the city said on social media.
Really? Okay.
I don't know why they said that. But anyway, the encounter echoes a similar incident in 2023, leaving many to wonder if the city has a recurring reptilian resident thing going on. The city shared a video of the surprise welcome provided by their contractor, Shenandoah Construction. Shenandoah, why is that a word that rings a bell? Is that the thing my sisters are into? It's about horses or something? Do you remember that? What is that?
Yeah, it's like a ranch name, isn't it? Shenandoah or National Park.
Yeah, but wasn't there a movie for girls, horse loving girls? I may have this completely off, but I swear there was something my sisters loved.
Probably was.
Something Black Beauty adjacent.
Shenandoah TV show.
Yeah, or something.
Here it is. 1965.
That's too old.
That's too old, yeah. Anyway.
Maybe I'm thinking of the song.
There's a country band called Shenandoah.
Maybe that's it. Or maybe I'm thinking of the song by, what's his name? Rocky Mountain High.
Did John Denver have a song called Shenandoah?
Shenandoah something?
Huh.
I can't remember.
Okay. All right.
I don't freaking remember. Anyway.
Alligators.
They're not sure how it got down there. They don't know what the deal was. And watch out when you go down in your sewer if you're scared, I guess.
Alligators in the sewers.
That's right. A Michigan man now also in the news thought lottery win was a prank. He won the lottery and thought he was getting pranked.
Sure. I would think that initially, like somebody's playing a joke on me. Yeah.
Yeah. Says a man from Detroit. Where is it here? There we go. Won a Lucky for Life lottery prize. That's the name of the lottery there. Of $25,000 a year for life. It's pretty good. Ooh. Nice little supplementary.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good if you're young.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you're 90, now. That's like, great. What do I can I bequeath this to somebody?
Yeah, I wonder if you can pass those down until I'm assuming when you're dead it's done. They don't send you anymore.
That's what I would think. It is for life, for your life.
Yeah.
But I mean, if once you realize you win, you give it to your youngest family member and say, "This is mine until I die."
Yeah, but
then it's all yours.
Yep. That's actually really smart.
And then they kill you.
Yeah. And then you get killed by your grandson.
Movie of the week on Lifetime.
And Van's standing over me with a knife in the middle of the night. Oh, speaking of which, dude, do I even want to talk about this on the show? Maybe I don't.
Ooh.
Van's got a bully at his school.
Oh, you mentioned this on
somewhere, right?
Skim. Yeah,
I
you
probably
talked
did.
about this on Skim.
He went. All I'll say about it is this kid went way too far yesterday.
Oh no, really?
And now, I mean,
you're wanting to step in, like you're wanting to.
And I don't need to. Dylan and Tay are absolutely stepping in, so I don't need to. But I want to go down there and scare the living shit out of this kid.
we had exactly the same thing happen with a kid with Tristan, and it was everything that I could do not to get involved and just want to scare this kid.
Just want to freak him out.
I don't want to hurt him.
No.
Just want to,
Yeah, I just want a little of his own medicine back in his face is what I want.
Yes.
The problem is this is a 7-year-old kid who's acting like an 18-year-old delinquent. It's that bad.
Oh, really?
Like I don't know. I'm worried about his home life. I'm more like this is. I'm legit worried about it.
School's not stepping in any further.
They
than
are,
just
but I don't know. I feel like they're not doing enough, and Dylan's on fire, pissed off right now. So I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what's going to happen, but
I'm mad for him.
Yeah, the details are rough.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how that goes. This guy from Detroit, though, he thought he was being pranked, and Mikhail Garland told Michigan lottery officials he bought the ticket on April 18th, Lucky for Life online drawing. Quote, I've been playing Lucky for Life for a few years, and I always buy my tickets online, he says. When I saw the email from the lottery about claiming the prize, I logged into my account and thought I was being pranked when I saw the account balance. It wasn't until I called the lottery and confirmed the prize that I then believed them, that I actually won. And it's still like I'm living a dream. That's what he says.
So he said, wait a minute. So when I saw an email from the lottery about claiming a prize, I logged into my account and thought I was being pranked when I saw my account balance. So they don't even send you they send you things saying, hey, you won, but then they just start depositing money into your account immediately. So
that seems wild.
So when you buy the ticket, you're giving them your bank information so they can do this?
Must be. Or it's a thing you have to transfer at that stage or something. He didn't get into the details.
That could be. Maybe that's it. He's got a lottery account.
Yeah. It's like you want to ACH this, and now you have to give us your bank stuff, I guess.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, lucky you.
Yeah. He says some of his winnings will go toward a trip, and the rest will go into savings. Well, you're only getting it every 12 months. So
every year. Yeah. $25,000 a year, though, would be, obviously it's not a living wage, but it's $25,000. You get taxed a third on that, right? So you really think about it as 16,000. But it's 16,000 you don't have to work for. That's an additional $1,200 a month.
Oh, I could definitely use that. We were just talking yesterday. We were like, man, one of those Rivians would be nice. And then I look at the monthly on it's about $1,200 a month. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. We're not doing that.
It'd be nice to look at when they drive by. Yeah.
But then if you had this going, you could justify it. You could say, well, that extra $1,200 is going to go to my new car.
There you go.
A rare mint allergy. I know some people that seem like they might have a mint allergy, if you know what I'm saying.
Are you allergic to certs?
Yeah. Are you allergic to toothpaste? Is that what's going on? Anyway, a rare mint allergy leaves a woman wishing she was allergic to peanuts, which I guess that means she thinks that's way worse, I guess.
I guess so.
This is a Virginia archaeologist. It was in video form, so there's very little to the story, but her name is Kaylee DiGiovanni. DiGiovanni. Suffers from a rare mint allergy that causes severe reactions impacting her daily life. She humorously expressed that she'd prefer a peanut allergy in the video. So this got me to thinking, I mean, I think you can gain an allergy or allergic reaction from mild to severe to almost anything, right? So what makes a mint one so rare?
Obviously, most commercial toothpaste contains mint, so you got to worry about that.
Yeah.
But there, no mojitos. Because that's
oh my gosh, you're out of mojitos. I don't know, certain gums are probably fake mint anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting thing. Like which ones use real mint or a fake artificial mint flavor.
We grow mint in our backyard, and the dogs hate it. They don't want to go near it. It's been a good
deterrent.
Yeah, it's a nice deterrent. It also seems to cure. No, that's not the stuff. There's some other plant she grows that keeps the gnats away forgot what that's called. Citronella. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, sure.
Works great.
Sure. That stuff's great. Really good for mosquitoes too.
Yep.
Against mosquitoes. Yeah, I mean, there might be other things. I know, your restaurants will have dishes occasionally that'll have mint as a flavoring or even as a garnish or something.
The edge of the plate or something, sure.
Yeah, lamb chops and mint jello, not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a bummer. I just you don't think about all the things that have mint in it, Like any of these things, though. Any of this stuff comes up and you're like, oh, yeah, an allergy to, I don't know, tomatoes would kill 90% of my food choices or whatever. That seems like that would just really suck. I don't have any known allergies. I don't know of any. I've never been diagnosed with any, and nothing makes me react weird.
Same. I've been very fortunate to go through life with no real substantial allergies. I think there's something going on. We've talked about this before, and people have questioned the validity of my tequila aversion.
Oh,
Listen,
that it keeps you up.
I'll drink everything else until the cows come home, but tequila.
I think you'd know if it was keeping you up. Brian can be a good source of his own information about tequila and his reaction to it.
I would think so. Oh, one of my clients, by the way, is a distillery, a gin distillery, Method and Muse, and been working with them on their website. They've got a temporary site up now, and we're working on a staging site that we're going to move over eventually. But they had a soft opening yesterday, and they're opening in Old Town Arvada. Like, it could not be much closer to me if we tried. I mean, it's far enough that it's still a 10-15 minute drive, but we went there last night, and I had a gin drink with Amaro and pineapple and mint, and my God, it was so good.
Is it
kind of like,
what's the
well done, Brian? You ordered the most complicated.
I'm trying to think if I even tasted gin.
I don't think any of the drinks that I've seen you drink, which are very few.
Yeah.
I don't think I've never seen you have gin. I've seen you have vodka a couple times.
Tasted vodka, tasted rum, tasted tequila because of the verbena was the first tequila exposure I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then wine.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's it.
I don't think you've had gin. Gin's
never had gin, never had a beer of any kind.
Gin, you know right away if you're going to like it or hate it because of the juniper berries. Like, it'll taste like an evergreen tree smells, if that's...
Oh, weird. Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I would like that.
You might not like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't really liked any of them.
Yeah, sure.
They just haven't been my jam, but I also barely, just kind of tried stuff. It's not been that... I haven't really gained the taste. You're supposed to gain a taste for these things. I haven't spent enough time with any of it.
Yeah, and gin is one of those. Gin is a more divisive alcohol. Maybe tequila is up there as well as being very divisive. But people either love or hate gin, or maybe not hate, but don't like gin. It's either they're oh yeah, my drinks, my go-tos, or anything with gin in it, but. A lot of people are not fans at all of it because of the...
Definitely hear less good about gin than I hear good about gin from people.
Yeah. Monica says the better the gin, the less it tastes like a Christmas tree. Yes and no. There are some very good gins that are very juniper forward. Our friends Free Monster from Vancouver gave me some gin at TMS Vegas 2024 that was very gin forward, and this is a smooth, like, drink it without even adding tonic to it.
Well, I just submitted a title called Very Juniper Forward.
Very Juniper Forward?
Because I love this. I love how that sounds. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back from said break, we'll be here with Wendy. We're going to talk about empathy. Sure could use more of that in the world today. So we're going to talk about ways of carving more of that out for each other and for those around us. That's coming up here in a minute. Brian, let's play a song before we do any of that.
Yeah, let's go to Austin, Texas for a band called Gentlemen Rogues. And for a second I thought, wait a minute, there's a band that has the same name as the Brian Brushwood thing from Austin, Texas. How is this related? But it's not. It's he's something else rogue. Modern Rogue?
Modern Rogue is correct, yeah.
They've got a brand new single. I guess there's just a lot of rogues in Austin. Who knew? That's the rogue capital of the U.S. They're releasing a brand new single. They actually just released a brand new single on May 16th. We're going to play it for you right now. It's called Half Empty, Half Full. Make sure to see these guys who are doing a Midwest tour starting this month. Here's Gentlemen Rogues, Half Empty, Half Full.
When you hear the tone, it will be exactly 6:45 and 1/4.
Does your mother know what you do for a living? Shut up.
And we're back. Who is that again? So I can write it down.
Sure, that's the band Gentlemen Rogues and their brand new single, Half Empty, Half Full. That's the A-side of the single, by the way. The B-side is a kick-ass cover of T-Rex's Children of the Revolution.
Oh,
so,
my goodness.
You know, when you get the whole thing, you get a bonus cover, a really good cover on top of that.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Here comes Wendy coming in hot.
Hey.
Let's see what we got going here with this.
Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. Lie down on the couch.
It's too early for a fish sandwich.
It sure is. It's my sister, Wendy, who yelled that out in Vegas and changed our lives forever when you did it.
For sure.
That was great.
It is too early.
It is.
Hey, have I told you this?
What?
That your niece Allison is a huge fan of the fish sandwiches.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, fish burger is what we call it here because both her grandfathers on both sides of the family, that was their big thing.
That's true. Dad loved a fillet of fish, yeah. And he called it a fish burger growing up,
yeah,
so that's very familiar.
Dad.
Yeah, he'd go up to, here's what our dad would order at drive-ups. He would either say, give me your deluxe burger, which it didn't matter where we went. If it wasn't called that, he still said that. Or he would say, give me a fish burger. Those are his two things.
Yeah. The old fish burger.
The fish burger.
That's great.
Sounds like somebody's name.
Yeah.
Larry Fishburger.
Yeah, it sounds like a name. Does she have a pick as a favorite that we could recommend to people?
Yeah, Culver's. They're
yes.
What is it? Is it cod? I think it's a cod fillet.
Yes.
Bread.
Culver's fish.
Culver's is fantastic.
Yeah. Culver's always leaves me feeling a little greasy, but that's the burgers and fries. Maybe I should go for the fish, next time.
Yeah, their fish is good.
Yeah.
The best part is their ice cream.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
It really is. It's custard.
Wisconsin cows.
Ooh, I do like custard. And that new Freddy's just opened. Ooh. Anyway, well, Wendy is here from knowbetteryou.com, as well as just, being my sister, and we grew up together, and I chased her around with a hot iron or a cold soldering iron, all that fun stuff. This is all true.
We're buddies here.
She comes here on Ye Old Thursdays, and we talk about ways of improving our lives. She's an actual therapist doing real therapy all the time and slumming it for you guys on Thursdays. We thought we'd talk a little more about empathy, and as a little bit of backstory to this, I made this attempt, which I do not claim is anywhere near the full brunt of what women go through on the monthly, but we tried to simulate it. Carter attached to me in the right places a TENS unit, electrical TENS unit that it's basically kind of lower abdomen kind of zone, and then cranking it up to, I think we went to 15 on this thing, which is roughly half of its this thing's pretty granular. Most of these things are like 0 to 10. This one went from 0 to 30, so 15 we're at half, or 5 on a normal one. And it was, the pattern we programmed into it was giving me the sensation, or something close to a simulation of the sensation, of crampy monthly menstrual cycle stuff. And I've always felt a lot of sympathy for the women in my life who have to deal with that, especially those who maybe have some, other issues with it where they're more severe. Kim's sister just like doubled over every month with her endometriosis. Am I saying that right?
Endometriosis.
There you go. Endo, not intro.
That's how it starts, though.
It get worse.
Sounds like a medical class. I'm going to my intro to endo. But anyway, it was really hard for her. So I've always felt empathy / sympathy for that. More sympathy than empathy, because I didn't really know what it felt like. The closest thing I ever had was my years ago when I got the occasional flare up of diverticulitis in this one area. It was really awful. And at the time, Carter and others would say, "Oh yeah, that's basically lady pain. That's what you're having." Imagine doing that every month. That's usually what I would get when I would have those. So we tried that.
A lot of empathy back.
Yeah. So I tried the TENS unit, and it really is uncomfortable. I don't know how people. Well, like just functioning with that kind of pain for 3-4 days, whatever it is for each individual person, seems like a nightmare on its own. But then also working a job, and I have to meet with the boss, and I'm doing all of these things that you just do every day that men just don't freaking think about. Like we don't have an analog to this. And it was a good experience for me, even though I know it's just barely brushing the surface, right? I understand that it's not the real thing any more than those guys that wear like the big belly suits to create a pregnancy weight, and they spend 2 weeks doing that. Similar reasons, trying to understand what it's like. I don't think we can fully understand it, but it got us on this thinking about empathy. Somebody forwarded a clip to Wendy of the show with me and Carter, and so that's why all this came up. So anyway, let's talk more about empathy. Feels like the world could use a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And I don't know if it's just our, I don't know what it is, but I feel like we've always needed it, But.
Yeah, it feels like it's the lately the US especially has just been turning way more into an every person for themselves kind of environment, and we need to get out of that trend.
Yeah. There's that thing I was talking about last week where Fred Rogers once famously said, "Look for the helpers." And it occurred to me recently that he's not talking to us. He's talking to kids when he says that. And he's talking about us. We're supposed to be the ones.
We're supposed to be the helpers. Yeah.
So anyway, how do we, first of all, maybe some of this should be about how do we get out from under the weight of it? Because right now it just feels like, ugh. And then learn how to be empathetic again to other people.
Yeah, well, let's first talk about period pain.
Let's do it.
Very exciting. I loved watching it. It was amazing. My favorite thing about it, though, actually, was that you responded really appropriately to the pain, and you'd say it makes you want to double over, and it does, and it makes you almost nauseous and want to vomit. Mm-hmm. That also does. Mm-hmm. And that's like, I think the on the ones I'm familiar with, the 10 is like the worst sort of period pain you could probably expect on just a monthly basis.
Right.
Now times that by 1 million, and that's a labor contraction.
Right.
So let's just be clear. And that's the same kind of pain for a labor contraction.
And the TENS unit doesn't go up that high.
No. There was no way to do that one.
We would be killing men in this attempt. And I also liked how you sort of could articulate, and like it was just funny to see your face. How, and it's rhythmic. It is very rhythmic. Mm-hmm. It is like labor. It's little labor.
Yeah.
And you did a good job feeling all of it. I think the other thing, like you mentioned Janice in a meeting.
Yeah.
And how in the world do you focus and live your life when this is happening? And there is definitely a spectrum of people's experiences with the uteruses, all the way from, not too bad to really bad, needing,
medical intervention, really, in some cases. Yeah.
My cute daughter would pass out. Hers was always like standing there, blanch white, fall down.
Oh man.
And that's not easy to live your life when you've got symptoms, and it varies for everybody. And then all sorts of other things, right? Okay. So I loved how actually empathetic it was. And I think that's what's so cool about whoever created this thing, is that it's pretty accurate, and that I've seen it put on women, and women are like, oh yeah, that's exactly how it feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're at like a 12, and their very masculine boyfriends curled up in a ball on the floor next to them at a 4.
Yeah. And also this thing though, there's also a mental aspect to it that I could not shake, which was, I know going into this is going to be 15 minutes. That was how long the routine was. It's going to be 15 minutes. I know that going in. I know there's an end to it, and I know when that's done, I will have learned a little something, but I get to go on about my pain-free uterus-free day. Exactly. I get to just go back to the normal. And there's no way to take that out of your head. There's no way to not know that this is a permanent or monthly or regular thing I'm going to have to fight or deal with. And that's a huge part of this, right? Just kind of dreading
40 years.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem fair at all. My gosh, it doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, it isn't fair. But I like what I don't know who kind of started doing this, but the various videos I've seen of it. I like this idea that it's like, let me go to a place where there's heterosexual couples interacting in a very masculine environment. So you've got rodeos, and there was a couple with basketball players that were so funny. And so these very like places where you would not be expected to try out some period pain. And then they'd get people to volunteer to do it. And having truly watched some of these dudes' minds just blown, like, oh, I had no idea, right? So what we're talking about with this, and it's a great example of it, is this step in someone else's shoes kind of empathy. So we're going to define a couple different words here. So empathy, sympathy. Sometimes people are like, well, what's the difference? Sympathy is where you feel bad for someone. So you can see someone curled up on the floor having period pain and be like, oh, that's sad. So there's sort of like a feel for you a little bit.
Sure.
And empathy is more of the response of like, I can feel the feeling, imagine feeling it. Like there's a little more grounded in experiential, even though like, okay, until this moment, you didn't actually know what those pains felt like. This was like real empathy.
Feels like the reason for the word to exist, because otherwise sympathy would cover it all. You needed something more intimately correct. Like,
right.
You really know what
sympathy
this feels
is. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is, I have also lost, and I can conjure that feeling and apply it to you, and sort of be there with you.
Right.
Now I'm going to add a third word. I feel like we've done an episode on this before, so forgive me, but it's probably been some years of compassion. And compassion is the ideal way to experience empathy, and I'll define this a little better. So think about a person you really love, like you just think they are the best, you want nothing but good for them, and when they are hurt or stressed or they're having a hard time, it's that feeling that happens in your body towards them, like you just don't want them to suffer. That's compassion. And I'm often working with people to try to get them to have compassion towards themselves. So that same feeling you would feel for this loved one or this person you really, really care about, what if we turn that towards ourselves? Because often people have kind of the opposite going on, which is these really harsh inner critics and, critical of themselves, even from the minute they wake up. There's some interesting studies on just how people talk and think and talk to themselves, within the first hour of the morning. And there's something like 50% of women in this one particular research have already said a half a dozen negative things to themselves by like 9:30 a.m. Right? And really what we should be saying is, you live through period pain. You're a superhero. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that compassion you would have for someone else, turning it towards yourself, can be, really, really powerful. So just recently, I've had the chance to be in two different situations where I'm being interviewed. One was by a bunch of kids at like a career fair, and I had probably 300 kids come through, and they'd come to each little station and ask you questions about your job. And then we had a policeman there with a dog. I mean, I can't believe anyone came to my station after there was a dog in the room.
The competition was fierce.
Oh, it was fierce. And he put body armor on kids. I was like, this is not fair, dude.
Yeah,
anyway, and then, boring jobs. And then, there was a teacher and a marketer and some other things. So these kids could have a chance to like ask questions. And then another was just working with a couple of individuals who are looking at becoming therapists and wondering what it's all about. And so I thought it was so fascinating because these kids could ask any question that they wanted. And, I like to joke with them, like in the 90s, if we had done this same kind of career fair, there would not have been a therapist table. That would not have been cool. And no one would have gone and sat at the tables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was telling them, like, in high school, and I gave them this like little quiz that showed like their aptitude, and the questions were funny. They were like, if your friend wants to tell you about something that happened to them that's really sad or hard, and then it's like A's like, listen, look them in the eye, sit there, and kind of empathy questions, and then one's just like, plug your ears and say la la la. So where are you on this scale? And so I'm, they're doing this little aptitude test, and then they can ask me anything they want. And so it was just funny because I was telling them, like, do any of you know what you want to be? And they're like, well, I'm interested in a lot of things, but yeah, I'm interested in knowing about a therapist. And I was like, if you had told me in the 90s that I was going to be a therapist, I would have died laughing. Like, first of all, what? It just is not the same now. And these kids were so flippin' bright, and it was so fun. Anyway, so here are the questions that I had asked to me based on a couple of adults talking to me, but then also it was hundreds of kids. It was a lot of kids. And they asked some really funny things, and then they asked some serious things about empathy. So every group, the big group of 5 or 10 kids come in rounds, and every group asked, how do you not take it home? And I thought, wow, that is so insightful. And that is something I didn't even think about until stories of child abuse and thinking, I got to figure out how not to take this home. Like, it just didn't dawn on me. And I think it's because younger people have way more, their empathy is being sort of triggered in constant ways that maybe wouldn't otherwise. So that's why I sometimes, when we're around young people and you're just like, dang, they are so much beyond their years in some ways. I think it's because of that. And so they asked about that. So I kind of gave them the spiel between sympathy, empathy, and compassion. And we have a term in therapy, which is, I think, the wrong word, but it's compassion fatigue. And it's where you are hearing so many hard things and you burn out, right? Yeah. But really, it's empathy fatigue. It should be empathy, because empathy, if you're feeling what someone's feeling over and over and over, that is exhausting. And sympathy no one would want to talk to you if they just felt like it would feel patronizing, right? So it's typically empathy that you're running through. But if you can actually conjure compassion, there is an endless supply of that. And this may sound weird to people, and you may say, well, no, I would run out. But I also ask these kids, like, if you hate math, don't get a job that you're doing math all day. And if you kind of hate people, probably shouldn't choose therapy, right? Yeah. Because you would run out of steam. I am very extroverted and, like, really love people. And some days I'm like, I guess I don't want to talk to anyone else today, after 7 hours straight. Yeah. So I think there is this thing we can develop. So when you are saying, let's apply this to the bigger picture of, like, we need more compassion, or I want to use that word. I want to use that word because it is, it comes from this, like, again, I want you to feel that feeling you would feel for someone you cared about, and you just don't want them to suffer that feeling, and take that to any other parts of your life. You would have an endless supply of that. So let's talk about how we could actually do it. So let's go with both of your individual little worlds that surround you, the 5-mile radiuses that surround you.
Okay. All right.
Where in that 5-mile radius, and this goes for everyone listening, could you, name anything you have a response to. It could be good, positive, negative, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's sympathy, maybe it's empathy, maybe it's some compassion, but just what are you noticing in your little 5-mile world that you, like, have a feeling about? Let's just pick one, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and for your internationals, that would be 8.05 kilometers.
I know. I was just, seriously, that's why I was stalling. I'm like, what is that kilometers? How many meters? All right.
Boy, something that we have either compassion, empathy, or
maybe you're mad about. We can even start there.
I mean, my big thing is irritation with inconsiderate people, especially on the road, who, you know what? No, I'll go a little bit more personal. I've been, of course, hitting the bike a lot lately. And I find that if there are people walking on the path or cyclists on the path, even around a blind curve, around a blind corner, or a place where, there's trees you can't really see, they will still ride in the absolute dead center of the path instead of doing the right thing, which is how we drive, which is to stay on the right side of the road in case you can't see another cyclist or a runner or somebody walking. Like, my default always on the path, even though the path is nice and wide, I always stay over in the right third of it, not even the right half. I stay in the right third. And my irritation with people who are inconsiderate about that sort of thing really, it gets to me, and I shouldn't let it get to me, but it does get to me.
So why do you do it? Why are you so considerate?
Because I'm just that great, Wendy.
I mean, I know that. But why?
Because I don't want to be, I don't want to run into somebody, on a blind curve, or there's the safety issue, but then there's also just I don't even want somebody to have to go on your left if they're riding faster than me and they come up from behind me. I mean, I want them to still say it, because if there's a lizard on the ground and I steer to the left side, I don't want to crash into somebody coming up silently behind me. But I don't want people to have to worry if they're coming the opposite direction that I'm going to slam into them, or that they're going to have to tell me to get out of the way, or things like that. I want to be, it works, like everybody doing the thing that's expected of them, even when nobody's watching. Integrity is there to keep conflict at a minimum, to keep anger and frustration at a minimum. There's still going to be all that stuff, but at least we can prevent a lot of it if we just do the things that we're supposed to do in society.
Right. And you're aware of that. And so you perform the right way because of the benefits that you see that you have, right? For sure. Okay. Yeah. And then someone coming along who's just riding in the middle, what's your thoughts about who they are?
They are thinking of themselves only and not of other people on the path, whether they're coming up behind them or coming towards them. And I imagine that they're even put out if somebody were to come up behind them and say, hey, coming up on your left. And then they have to make this effort to now go onto the right side of the path where they think they don't belong.
Right. Okay. So can you conjure any sympathy for them? Let's start with sympathy first.
I'm sad for them that they're so ignorant and selfish.
That they're idiots.
Because that's not going to serve them well in life. I mean, there's a little, I joked about that, but there's a little bit of truth to that they're going to spend, if this is how they act in real life, basically doing what they want when they think no one's watching, when they think no one's around, it's like, well, I don't have to follow the rules because I'm the only one here. It's going to cause them problems in other aspects of their life when they think nobody's watching and they're being selfish or inconsiderate.
Yes. So you moved into empathy just then. Notice
I guess
that?
So. Yes.
Yeah. You went away from I'm sad they're stupid too.
But if they were to ride into a ditch, they would move quickly to apathy.
Yeah. To maybe glee.
Which is yet another pathy that we haven't brought up.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But a little bit of empathy, irritation, sure. And it's also, one of these times is going to bite you in the butt, this inconsiderateness, selfishness that you're experiencing.
Yeah. And then the way to move this into compassion, let's see if we can try. How would you move from
empathy
to compassion?
God, what would it take for me to feel compassion for these people?
And here's the thing. We don't know anything about them.
Can I not?
One time they're in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I know nothing else about them. I'm basing my entire summation of who they are as a person on this fleeting 2-second experience with them that I feel like defines completely who they are as a person, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah. Because what if they just swallowed a bee and they're
right? They could be avoiding a lizard. They could easily be avoiding a lizard on the path and looking,
you never know.
Lizard.
You never know. So it's like stepping in their shoes can be the empathy part. Like, okay, sometimes you ride in the middle and you make mistakes, or
Yes. Yeah.
And compassion. Go ahead.
It's funny that I'm so much like this on the bike, because I feel like when I was lifting all the time or Ubering all the time, I I was getting less and less irritated by the stupid decisions and moves of the cars around me, the drivers around me, because I figure, all right, you know what? I go over the speed limit, not on a very occasional basis, but a little bit more than that. So I'm also not following the rules. So why, when they change lanes without signaling or cut me off, why do I get mad at the crap that they do when I'm guilty of doing something else that is not following the rules? So, but on the bike, for whatever reason, I'm a lot more.
And there's a cultural element to cars. There's a cultural element to cycling. How people behave at a farmer's market. Who stands in line for bathrooms at concerts? There's some unwritten sort of clues.
I always think of Costanza. We're living in a society here, and I try not to. I like look at that as I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
So I always go right to the precipice of being Costanza and just a little bit back from the edge, like, okay, all right, maybe that's a little bit much.
Okay. See, what I loved about your thought process there is it reveals a lot about what we actually value. Our negative emotions are usually just telling us something, right? So if I'm really irritated by someone not following the rules in this context, but I kind of push some rules over here.
Yeah, and that easily could be I'm mad at myself for not following the rules when I do. When
our hypocrisy shows up like anger.
Oh, for sure. And it always, it's always directed at the person who seems to be doing exactly the same thing.
Right. But the compassion is like the really, really mature version, which is. I don't know their backstory. I don't know their situation. But if this is just the regular way they move through life, I actually feel bad for the life, the consequences of that life.
It's more, it's that, and I feel bad for the people around them, the people that they interact with daily or hourly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's a good example of like thank you for bringing the bike example because it's a little like. You can move between these things. They are different things. And what does it look like to actually provide something in your own community, like that is your good energy or your willingness to sort of be a member of society when not everyone is pulling it off very well. Like that is tough. That is tough stuff.
Pulling their weight,
Right. But what makes us a community, and that could be any from an online community to your literal local one, or all the people who happen to be in the store at the same time an event occurs, right? You're in these various spaces and places and how you act and what you do. I mean, think about many movies. They are showing us that's the interesting part is the development of the dynamic of a community that got developed by happenstance or, that's created and tell the story. Lost is a dumb example, but you know what I'm saying, where all those things start to happen. So when we look, we go in circles. And I like the Mr. Rogers reference, Scott, because, his whole work was ultimately to create like skills and safety and, some amazing care for kids.
Yeah.
And it mattered. So super excited that all the funding is done for PBS. Okay. So, like that built in to somebody is done by how you're raised, your different experiences, what's valued, what's not, et cetera. But so then think about, and the reason I wanted to ask about your 5 miles, now we can make it bigger, or Scott, you can give us an example, but how do you, because a community or compassion or empathy or any of those things, I sound like your mom's. It starts with you. But it does. It starts with you. And this is why I really like when I can help people understand that whatever negative emotion pops up to get really curious about that, because that is a gold mine of information. Like what keeps triggering you is still stuff you haven't healed from. Like that's what that is. And so it maybe isn't the biggest wound in the world, but there are definitely clues when we feel resentment or regret or anger towards something. And it could be just, I want to live in a world where this feels safe, this thing that I love and all these people enjoy, I care about that. And that boundary has been crossed because this idiot on a bike, and that can, I guarantee every cyclist feels this way about cars when they're.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know how they do it. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Anyway,
I'm so scared to drive on the road these days right now with people being distracted by their phones. And I hear so many stories weekly of bikes getting hit by cars. There was a hit and run over the weekend. It's scary as hell. Yeah.
It is so scary. It is so scary. And so Scott, do you have one we can work with, or do you?
It's more,
if you want.
It's more of an empathetic aspect of it, or more, less about a thing that bugs me and a thing I'm just worried about. But there's this kid in our neighborhood, I don't want to get too specific, but someone who I used to be a teacher for way back in the day when they were like 7 or 8. They're now in their teens. And since they were 8 until now, whenever I see them, super friendly, I just love this kid. Just absolutely love when I get to see this person. Super nice. They'll show up at the ice cream place while we're over there walking or something. We'll talk forever. Just a wonderful, wonderful kid. But I know that his or her, I'll say, home life is not great, and that there's a lot of infighting going on between the parents, that they're also wildly like anti-vax and, just a bunch of stuff like that. And this is a kid who just needs to get out from under that to let their creativity and their potential and just all that stuff shine. And I'm not their parent and I can't control that, but I feel this connection to them that's kind of parent-like. And every time I see them, I just want to steal them away from that and finish the raising of them till they're 18, because I know how hard it is for them, especially because of the kind of personality they have and how it conflicts with the parents' personalities, and how these parents are they're just using a different checklist that I think is harmful for this person. And so I guess it's a little of both. I'm annoyed with them to no end. And I'm not the only person. They're known for just being a huge pain in everybody's butt in that part of the neighborhood. But mostly I just feel for this kid, and I wish I could do something for them. I'm trying very hard not to reveal too much about who they are. But anyway, so yeah, there's an example of it. And I think about it a lot. Like there are times where, like last night, Kim and I went to dinner. I'm out driving. We go past where they live, and it's the first thought. It's not that just here's a street and there's houses, and it's that house. And my brain immediately goes, I wonder how they're doing. Oh, how's that kid feeling? Knowing how hard high school is now, knowing how hard it is to be a teenager. They also had to be a kid during, pandemic stuff that, we still haven't really grappled with, and all that stuff. And I don't know. I can't not think about it, but I also have very little stewardship in this regard. I'm not allowed to go over there and go, all right, that's it. Out of the way, parents. Here's my way or the highway. I don't have that option. That's not how society works. So I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that one, because that one feels like I don't have a lot of options. Now, I have some options. Some options are stop by once in a while with something cool, drop it off, say hi, let them know I'm thinking about them. Kim makes cookies. Let's make sure we stop there, stuff like that. But it's not, those all feel very surface level when I feel like this person's entire life trajectory could be in danger, not in danger, they just aren't going to be able to go where they want to go and be who they want to be, because they're just trapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're in, I mean, you could, I'm not your therapist, so I don't know, you could tell me differently, but I don't think it's not empathy here. You didn't have that experience.
No, I didn't.
Your creativity was crushed in a ball. And it's not perfect. No one has anything perfect, but it's maybe a little different, but you benefited from having pretty open parents, and here you're seeing this kid being a misfit in their family, right? That's
a little bit
always hard.
Yeah. They don't really, and the kid's not like rebelling or like doing anything crazy or lying to his, if anything, I'm seeing this person just curl up into a bit of a ball of inaction, not being able to really know what to do or where to go, and afraid of their parents and that kind of thing.
Right. So you have kind of it. You're sort of almost naturally at compassion, which is I care about this person. I want good things for them. It's hard to see that those good things aren't coming. You could see another kid you really care about and be like, yeah, things are really going great for them, and you could just feel the good kind of compassion there, right? Like, yeah, and then it's where it's our most powerful is where it's actually the hard kind.
Yeah, I think part of it too is that how I do relate to this particular kid is they are a lot like me when I was their age, but they're facing such a different set of blockades because creative, weird, now we call them neurodivergent kids, but kids like that are just a little bit, singing to their own tune. Even if they have a great family system to sort of protect and foster that. Society, though, lots of bumps in the road. Like lots of people are going to run into in school and later in the workplace or wherever, relationships that are not ready for you and your differences. And that's, I think, the part that I think that's what drives it mostly. Because if this was just some kid that's like, oh, I love football, wish I was playing football right now, you know what I mean? Like I'd probably be a little less worried. Because that's more of a societal welcome in. You're one of us. You play football. You're a kid who plays football. But in this case, it's not. It's a person who wants to write and draw and paint and express themselves in these like more creative ways. And these parents are just not these people. They are just like, nope, waste of time. Not doing that. Yeah. So I think that's where if there's empathy, it's that part of it.
And so when you take that feeling, you can there's like the small version of it, which I think you guys probably going to do naturally, right? Which is stop by, chat when you get a chance, remind him or her of their like, just what you think is cool about them, like you can have this little bit of influence. And, later on in life, they have a context for a different version of life and feeling, accepted and maybe seen for their parts of them that are maybe not seen other places, right? So there's value to that, absolutely.
Sure.
And then I would say, and this isn't maybe just for you specifically, but anyone who's like, I'm feeling pretty helpless about where I'm feeling compassion. I can't go be the pseudo dad to half the neighborhood. So what can I do that helps, right? And so it may be that you get involved in some very specific like angle of caring for your community, right? It could be that I know of a woman in Utah actually who's got a son who's living with autism and is like socially really, really, really struggled. And so she has created an entire like county-wide social organization for these kids to get together and hang out and have prom, and she just figures out how to fund it, and like she took the thing that was breaking her heart and created a benefit for so many other kids, right? So sometimes it can be big like that, and sometimes it can be small. It's irrelevant. What I think is tricky in modern life is we can have our empathy or our compassion tapped into because we're seeing something that's hard for us to fathom is happening or is allowed to happen or, any of those things. And so we feel a lot of the things and then we go on our day. And that is not, we're not metabolizing think of it as like a cycle that has to be completed, if that makes sense. Like if I saw someone on the side of the road suffering and I stop and help them and then I can go on with my day, I've completed the cycle of my empathy being activated, if that makes sense. But if I'm passing many people on the street with signs and asking for money and I can't do anything about any of those things because I got to get to soccer practice, I'm feeling and I'm not completing. So people are left with guilt or sometimes I think we have the opposite, rather like I can't actually feel these things or it's too vulnerable or I feel powerless. And I now need to just blame everyone else. And I think that is modeled very young, whether we're going to be compassionate for someone in circumstances that are not great, or if we are going to blame them and say, well, it's their own fault. They could get a job like me or whatever. Like, I think sometimes that is handed down a little bit. And so, yeah, it's like, what do you do with it? So that's really what I want to challenge everyone with And I know, we can look around and see this big need. And the truth is, for every crazy thing you see, there is also an entire neighborhood getting together to make sure the family whose dad lost his job is going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
it is always outnumbered, at least in my experience. I think sometimes and Brian's story with the bike actually really brings up an important point in my mind, is when people are really afraid, then we are not our best selves often. Like there is a hijacking that our amygdala will do in our whole system, and just like, wow, we are now in fight and flight, and it's really hard.
Secondary. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to ground ourselves back into some other space. And so I think the more scarcity there is, or the perceived scarcity, or maybe violence in war, and not knowing who to trust, and all of those things will heighten our fear. And then we're activated out of that. But it's still amazing things and good things come out of those places too. So, I mean, I know people might just think it's Pollyanna-ish of me, but I'd like you to prove me wrong. Like, I'd like someone to show me how every 5-mile radius does not have problems, because it does. And then within that, there's really good people trying, and those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you find that 5-mile radius, guess what? We're buying houses there.
Yeah. But then those will go.
Problems in this 5-mile radius.
Then the prices will go up, and then jerks will move in, and it'll be bad again. That's how this all
We'll
goes.
keep the jerks out. We'll put up a wall.
That's right.
And we'll make Mexico pay for it.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
Well, all right. This is, you know what? This is good. This is, I don't know. I feel like today was
Cathartic.
a perfect day for this. Cathartic is a great word for it. So get out there and be not only more empathetic, but more compassionate, everybody. Find ways.
Yeah.
All right, Wendy, was fantastic. NoBetterYou.com, hopping, doing good stuff.
Hoppin'
Anything
and
you want to
poppin',
mention
yes.
right now going on?
Yeah, she should have got an email today, but I didn't send it, so it'll come later. Yeah, we have a week and a half before we start. So June 2nd will be the time mastery course. And Brian, the perfect nice guy on a bike, he's going to be there. Yeah, it's going to be great. Very excited. So go to knowbetteryou.com and you can read all about it.
Yep, available now. Go check it out. That's knowbetteryou. That's the letter U.com. Wendy, have a fantastic week.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Bye now. Can't hang up on her. There we go. All right. Good stuff, everybody. We are now to the point of the show where we can make some decisions about leaving you.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty dark. So no Coverville
to have
today.
This talk with you.
And you're not swapping anything in for the noon slot. You're just no show today, right?
Just no show,
Okay.
no Coverville today, right? Yeah,
Gotcha.
There's because we're recording this we're not doing a live stream of the soundography thing.
Gotcha.
But it'll be available to soundography patrons right away. And then, this week just turned into a real mess with freelance stuff that came in over the weekend while I was in Kansas City that I needed to push to Tuesday and yesterday, and it just was no time for me to get together a show. But there's no, there was no sponsor for this week's episode, so it made it a very easy decision to say, you know what, we'll take a week off and come back to it next week.
A little breather once in a while never hurt nobody.
Never hurts. Yeah.
Helps.
Exactly.
Only helps sometimes. Well, anyway, if you are so let's say you're all eating lunch at noon. That's great because you'll be done at 1 where Core starts at frogpants.tv. Yeah. Today is a brand new episode of Core with me, John and Bo. We got a lot to talk about. This week is insane for games. So many cool games are launching this week.
Really?
It's bananas.
Oh, cool.
Like across the spectrum of indie up to AAA business. Just insane stuff. So come check that out. We'll talk all about that and what's going on in the world as well of that particular industry. And we always have a good time. That's at 1 p.m. today live at frogpants.tv, or you can get the podcast at frogpants.com/core. TMS Friday will happen tomorrow, 9 a.m. Be here for our bonus hour for patrons. If you are not yet a patron, you could sign up today and be one and get that and all the previous episodes as well over at patreon.com/TMS. And of course, Film Sack this weekend, as mentioned earlier, it will be The Goonies, and it'll be my first viewing. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't wait. I'm really excited about.
Am I the only one, or the other two also?
No, you're the only one, as far as I know, of the four of us who hasn't seen it. So
damn it! I was hoping I'd have a newbie buddy in there, but
that's all right. You know what? They'll. I think we'll enjoy hearing your newbie perspective.
My hot newbie take. My noob take.
That's right.
My nake. There you go.
Can't wait to hear your nake.
That's what Nick used to call it when he was little. He called snakes. He called them nakes. Like, look out, Daddy, it's a nake. Anyway, that'll be this weekend. So watch for and listen for that. Everything else is at frogpants.com/TMS with one exception, and that is the song we haven't heard yet. So play one.
That's right. Heather Kilgore wrote in. She put her full name. Maybe I shouldn't say her full name, but I did. Heather wrote in, said, tomorrow, May 23rd, is my husband and my 10th anniversary. He is a regular TMS listener, which is how I became aware of the show. I believe he goes by the name Furry Viking. We have a road trip planned to celebrate, so we're going to be spending lots of time listening to podcasts. With any luck, we're currently on our way to North Carolina. I want him to know how much I appreciate taking this journey with him, both literally and figuratively. Would you please play You Give Me Something by Jamiroquai as my way of wishing him a happy anniversary? We met online, and on our first phone date, he had songs queued up to listen to together. This was one of them. Thank you, TMS. Signed, Heather. Well, that's so cool. Happy anniversary to the two of you. 10 is a good one. It's a biggie.
Yeah. It's nice to get a real positive request too. We've had some real downers lately. Not that they're not important. We got to do them. I get it. But course, it's nice to have a little upper here at the end of the week.
Exactly. Yes. Well, and Heather, not super familiar with the end of the show where it has to be a cover. Jamiroquai's "You Give Me Something" is an original, but I was able to find a cover of the song by Dinah Eastwood. I don't think any relation to Clint. There's a Dina Eastwood that used to be married to Clint, but I think Dinah Eastwood is her own thing. Anyway, this is a cover that she released in 2019. It's Jamiroquai's "You Give Me Something" by Dinah Eastwood.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You're amazing. Want to hear more amazing? Go to frogpants.com for more amazing. It's like a maze of amazing. It's crazazing how amazing. I'm amazed and I'm not phased. Sorry.
We now return to the Transformers.